So this video is going to be a catch-up one for the first Descendant, which is going to be launching on July 2nd. This video is just going to go over the stuff that they've mentioned about the game and sort of condense it in one video. And go over the dev notes that they've got on their official website. They did release a video called Endgame, which I'm going to link down below, or just go on their channel, whichever one, and watch it. It's only 7 minutes long, but it's well worth a watch. Right, it is. There's English subtitles. It is in Korean, I think, but there is English subtitles. So just watch it. It's only 7 minutes long, so I recommend that you do that. But in this video, we're just going to catch up on what they've said in their dev notes, right? But before I do that, I just want to remind people, this is obviously a brand new channel. So the biggest thing you can do, obviously you'll see this screen if you're watching my channel, is go to here and then just click subscribe. We're doing well. This channel's only just started, 293 subs. So just keep going. Honestly, this is fantastic because obviously we want to start again, start afresh with a variety of games, and we'll just do, as I say, games that really interest us and interest other people. That's what it's all about. It's not about being fixated on one game, which I've explained that on my other channel about all that information. So do that for me if you can, if you haven't already. And the next thing, subscribe to First Descendant on YouTube. Do that as well. Right, you may as well. So if you're going to be playing this game and you're interested in it, so on and so forth. So that's those out of the way. So the dev notes, if we get into that, so it is on news, dev note. So I've had a look through, not every one, but I believe it starts to get really important at dev note 8. So I'll read through dev note 8, dev note 9, dev note 10. So this is going to be a long format video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we're going to read through it. Not word for word, but I'll just go through it. So, like I said, I'm not going to read it for word. So we'll see here. So the first step is enhancing field play was identifying the problems. The conversation created a lot of ideas, but it was critical to determine what the main issues were and what solutions would make sense for the game. After some debate, the dev team identified the main issues as inconvenient co-op play and empty fields. I felt that on the first beta. Let's go on. So co-op play improvements for this game. First, let's discuss co-op. In the first Descendant, a single field is relatively big. However, with only 4 players entering the vast field, limited means to assist with co-op, and the frequency of players engaging in missions, seamless co-op play was uneasy to achieve. During our conversations, we contemplated about increasing the number of participants per session. It should go to 6, but we'll see. But we decided to put that on hold for the time being, given the path the first Descendant is taken and the uncomfortable play experience we want to provide. So for the launch version, the dev team chose to shift the scale of session to zone within the field known as battlefield rather than a wide field, and we're working on stimulating 4-player co-op on a battlefield by battlefield basis. So this gives you an example of what they mean, I guess. Right? We focus on making co-op play to be more fluent by improving our session matching rules, introducing the option to request support during missions, and more. We'll talk more about usability enhancements later on in this note. Field content enrichment. Next, let's explore the enrichment to field play during the last cross-play open beta test. One of the most common feedback we heard about the field was that they were too static and there wasn't any content to play unless you had a mission. I kind of felt that as well. Sometimes, but let's go on. This wasn't our initial intention, and we've been reviewing the empty fields in 2 ways, adding improvement missions and adding more field content. We'll talk more about the improvements to missions another time, but today we'll focus on the new field content. Now this looks good. Just looking at this, look at this. So new content, encrypted vault. Currently the dev team is focusing on adding combat and out of combat content to the fields, with the latter dubbed encrypted vault. These vaults are strewn around the field, carrying information and resources that magistrates have hidden away. Descendants will be able to locate and decrypt them using a simple mini-game to gain rewards. As out of combat content, it will become welcome change of pace in between the play and the fields. This is absolutely, so this is like law. I'm looking at this thinking this is law stuff, right? So there's going to be sort of mini games, and you get these. This is good. It's just going to add another layer to the game, and it maybe does need that in this out of combat play that they're on about. So new content: Void Fragment and Void Fusion Reactor. New content. So, fields include items known as void fragments. The void fragment can only be destroyed by an attack of matching attribute. And when destroyed, an item known as a void shard can be obtained. When you acquire void shards and put them in a so-called void fusion reactor, a secret monster known as Vulgus Commander is summoned. Defeating the summoned commander will yield a reward, making this an additional piece of content that can be replayed through alongside the field missions. So this is like you're doing a mission, but you get an extra objective. Like in Destiny 2, you're doing a public event, but you get a patrol. But might not be the same level as how brain dead patrols are in Destiny 2. I'm not saying it's going to be on the same level, but it's the same premise. You're doing something, and then you get some extra objective whilst you were doing it to maybe make things more chaotic. The higher the difficulty of this, the more intense it will be and maybe more fun. We'll see how that goes. So that's what it looks like. New content, Vulgus Recon Outpost. In addition, the fields are now littered with Vulgus outposts from the invasion of Ingress. Corell's instructions to find the Iron Heart prompted the establishment of Recon outposts throughout the field. These outposts are scattered around the area and vary in size depending on importance. Scouts monitor the field, becoming with the smallest outposts. Players will frequently encounter and go into battle with them as they explore the fields. The large outposts house massive power units to investigate the Iron Heart and transmit the battle data back to their base. Because of their significance, they are guarded by Vulgus garrisons. When a Descendant discovers an outpost, they are automatically assigned the mission to destroy it. Your objective is to eliminate the Vulgus stations there and destroy the outpost, dealing a blow to Corell. So, are we going to be actually doing damage to these posts itself, or is it just you clear the enemies and then it's class is destroyed? I'm not sure, but that's what they look like. This is extra objectives. This looks good, if I'm being honest. The old empty fields thing, quotation marks, this won't feel like that if you've got more of this stuff to do. Next, new content, records. Next, as you explore the fields, you'll discover various records. These are devices that contain hidden stories that shed light on the worldview surrounding the content of Ingress. They can be obtained from various objectives in the field as though different in-game activities such as quest completion, and they are saved via the UI. So here you are. So these are like lore pieces as well, I think. Add and field difficulty and usability features. As we mentioned previously in the dev notes, once you've completed the normal difficulty, you'll be able to switch to hard mode. So hard mode is unlocked once you complete normal, which will be quite the challenge. The new dungeons will also be available in normal and hard difficulty, which we'll go over in a greater detail later. The hard difficulty in particular notes a drop rotation system. Each battlefield includes a drop mechanism that changes on a regular basis, allowing players to identify and play in battlefields that drop items that they might need. The drop rotation information will be detailed in the UI to ensure seamless gameplay and enjoyable farming. So this is just giving you an example, normal, hard, yeah. And then this is just, these are all the areas, and these are, so the destruction, fire, toxic. So this is just giving you an example of hard difficulty drop rotation system. So I would have to, as I say, have a go at this and play this to fully understand it, but that's what it's saying there. In addition to the ability to submit support requests to other players, so this you need help during a mission, we're implementing a few more changes to make field play more fun. First of all, you can now change Descendants in non-Albion field camps, and we're also creating new waypoints outside of regular camps to help replay missions such easier. I didn't have a problem with replay missions. I felt that was pretty clear, to be honest. But the support thing, request support's good. You know, if you're under-leveled and you need a mate to help you, that's decent. How that works exactly, though, I don't know. Who's that going to send that to exactly, and how's that going to work? So, wrapping up, today we've just elaborated on everything that we can... I won't go over this bit. That's fine. So, that's an idea of the map. So that's Dev Note 8. I don't need to read this for word. I'm just covering the most important points. So that's Dev Note 8. Let's go to Dev Note 9. Let's move along a little bit. So let's just, as I say, so we will be covering the topic of UI, UX in detail in this dev note. As such, in a gesture of full disclosure, during the 2022 Steam beta test, the UI had received a satisfaction score of 3 out of 5 points, leaving things much to be desired. The UI was all right. I thought it was actually above average, but I actually have seen some stuff where it looks better. And if we rate it out of 10, it might be 8 or a 9. So we'll see. In order to improve the issues brought up in feedback, the dev team had revamped and modified most of the UI, improving the score to 4 points during the crossplay. The UI was never a problem to me, to be honest. Right, so let's just move on to new feature loadout. We are excited to announce that the most frequently requested function loadout is being added. Loadout is largely divided into 3 categories: the Descendants module loadout, weapon module loadout, and integrated presets. So this is your loadouts from Destiny 2 sort of thing, similar situation. To go into more detail, various module settings for Descendants and weapons in loadout can be set up and saved in advance. Additionally, the module loadout of the Descendant or weapon currently in use can be switched regardless of location when not in combat. The key words, when not in combat. So if you're in combat, I don't think you can change this on the fly. Is that what that's saying? The preset function can be used to set up Descendants, weapons, and even modules. However, in the case of presets, they can only be set up in Albion or at the field camp. In order to accommodate the increasing diversity of content, which will be available at the time of the official launch, we believe that the utilization and management of various settings and strategies is essential, and the dev team is working hard to develop such functions with increased importance. So here, look, you've got a Lepic solo, Lepic co-op. I like this, Lepic solo. So you've got like a Lepic solo build. You've got a bunny build. So that's good. This is good. This screen is clean. The UI, I have no problem with this UI at all. Shop, battle pass, customizing. It's fine. It's fine. Looking at that, here's another screen. And I like that it shows your weapons. What's this? Oh, you can type in the preset, look. Or just type in what you want, and then that's the rename of it, sorry. So this is another screen of all the modules. Looks complicated, but once you understand the game, here's stats on the side. That's character module settings. This is loadout weapon module settings. So this is your modding. If you like modding, you're going to love this game. It's going to already be good to you. Warframe's modding. Modding is Warframe, right? The first Descendant is on a similar basis for like modding. And I enjoyed modding in this game. I didn't have much complaints with it, but I hadn't played it for an exceedingly amount of time neither. So I can't say for sure if the system's perfect. None is. But I had a good time with modding. Right? We've got numbers. You know I like numbers. At least we've got damn numbers in the game, so I understand fully what's going on without having to go on damn Reddit. So that's good. Core menu improvements. First off, we have changed the entire layout of the in-game core menus. I don't think they needed to, but let's move on. Improving its convenience as the number of new features has increased. The existing top menu has been divided into inventory, centered, and map centers menus for improved accessibility. In the case of inventory-centered menus, functions related to characters and equipment have been integrated, and the layout of the inventory screen has itself been revised to improve visibility. For map-centered menus, various content, including maps and new features such as journals, achievements, and library have been included. In addition, improvements have been made to the top map control method. Previously, in order to pursue operational uniformity with the gamepad, map control carried out by the drag and the mouse was not supported. However, there was a lot of feedback that the action as it stands was not initiative. Therefore, we separated the mouse and gamepad operations so that you can control the map by clicking and dragging the mouse. This is super in-depth, so they're like literally taking every micron criticisms and like saying, all right, I'm going to do this for you. Like they're trying to suit everybody, it sounds. Furthermore, we are improving the convenience of the overall gamepad control itself by supporting menu movements through D-pad, so please look forward to that. I mean, I'm not bothered about that. That's fine that they're doing that. But I was happy with the UI. This looks better, though, than what it did. I love this. Your character's right on in the main. You can clearly see what your weapons are, what your level is, what your mastery rank is. I'm gonna love this mastery rank system, because if it's anything like Warframe or something similar, I'm gonna love it. Seriously, I love mastery ranks in games. These are like your artifacts, your reactors and stuff, and the components of the reactor and how it enhances all your build. So it's going to be a really in-depth game. This is the map. The map, as I say, I have to see in game what it's going to be like, but the overview map seems to be decent. Improvements in equipment info. There are many items that have various functions in First Descendant. Therefore, clearly, delivery of information is of the utmost importance. However, for some equipment, information about their performance was not very intuitive. A central example of that would be the reactors. Yeah, they were confused, and I must admit they were. Reactors are equipment that can greatly influence skills performances. However, despite the need to convey a lot of information through tooltip, we believe that this information is not displayed very intuitively. Therefore, we have improved the tooltip display information in the following segments. Base power, compatibly with the current Descendant. 3 detailed changes in the power of each skill. Also, when comparing reactors, the changes in power of each skill will be indicated, helping players choose the right reactor for them. So yeah, this looks decent. You're going to be clearly understanding of an upgrade when you get it. But obviously what build you've got will determine all this as well. In terms of like extra perks, like stuff like that. So improve reactor tooltip. So that's the old one. That's the new one. It seems like, oh yeah, it's much better. Look at all this at the bottom. Look at all these symbols and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely better. The commonly used but slightly inconvenient module enhancement screen is also being improved for a better convenience. Improvements not only enhancing the notified effects, but also by adding information on exactly why Descendants or Fireteam enhancements has taken effect. Module enhancement notification when capacity cost is exceeded. Okay, this is just giving you a little tutorial of that. So, yeah, that looks all good. Improvements in content reward info. So, for collecting items, improvements are being made for the information concerning rewards acquired from content clearing. Although the reward information acquired from various content had been previously displayed, it lacked uniformity, and checking the drop rates was also inconvenient. In response to that, we intend to unify the information screen and specify the types of rewards, drop rates, and quantities. This is good, because that wasn't apparent, was it, during the beta? So that's good. It's saying, look, you do this, you get the Thunder Cage blueprint. Which, by the way, the Thunder Cage weapon, it's like some sort of like arc, electrifying weapon, like what Trinity Ghoul is in Destiny 2. And this is saying, if you do this mission, it even gives you a playtime, man, of it. That's really good as well. And that'll be just an estimation, but that's really good. Oh, no, that's the former version. This is what it is now. Alright, so it was already decent. It's even better now. So, as you can see, I didn't have a problem too much with how this was. And this is what it's like now. So, it's showing you all the drops. Whereas this just showed you that part of it. So, that's fine. Furthermore, the information on items needed to be collected and their farming locations will be provided from the newly added library function. Research materials for Descendants, weapons and growth items can be viewed, as well as where to get these research materials. In addition, information on all modules and where to obtain them will also be available, allowing players to reach for modules when enhancing their builds. Information on amorphous materials will also be available. This must be some sort of main mat. The library will help players not only by providing guides, but by directly assisting in farming items as well by setting the item that is needed as a target. The tracking function will be activated. Players can check the farming progress of the targeted item that is being tracked on their HUD, reaching the time to visit consumables to check how many of them they have acquired so far. So this is the library, right? So this is giving you sort of breakdowns of the stuff. This tab's here to sort of help you on, you know, what to do, etc. So here we go. Along with the changes mentioned in an effort to minimize any inconvenience for gameplay at official launch, such improvements for gamepad controls, in-game option menus, and various in-game UI and UX are being made. The next dev notes will cover improvements to missions which had not been handled during the previous field improvements, as well as dungeons that have been added. Please stay tuned for that. But that's That's already out, which I'm going to talk about. So I'm not going to go through this Q&A. I'm going to get right to the last dev note. Right, so that's right in it. So we're doing dev note 9. Yeah, I've already done that, so it's dev note 10. This is the most up-to-date recent one, and then after the dev note 10, they end up doing the endless endgame video that I recommend that you go and watch. Right, so this is the dev note 10. So let's just get right into what they're saying. Instance dungeons. The biggest change pertaining to mission gameplay is adding instance dungeons. Not only are instance dungeons intended to offer convenient mission gameplay, but our goal is to guarantee content volume and variety. Specifically, in addition to intercept battles, we aim to establish instance dungeons as endgame content to allow a variety of gameplay for many players, both single player and co-op, are supported, and the difficulty level can be adjusted according to the number of participants. So you can solo this stuff. It's saying that you are allowed to solo this stuff as well, which is always good for me. So this is a dungeon. Reclamation Operations Terminal. So where was it say? Yeah, these are dungeons. The operations, the reclamation. They should have just called them dungeons, in my opinion, because somebody clicking on this might not be quite apparent that it is a dungeon. We understand the keyword dungeon in games, but this reclamation thing, that just appears to be another mission. So that's a slight criticism, but I'm not bothered. It's dungeons. And dungeons in games are always something that I want. And their endgame content, they've said that. First of all, the instance dungeon is called this in-game. You can enter it through the terminal in Albion. You can also enter each dungeon through mission beacons in the field. So you can enter it via two ways. As shown, there are normal and hard difficulty settings. Both difficulty settings use the same map, but there are big differences in the actual gameplay and content system. While clearing the given mission is the focus of normal difficulty, hard mode, with a stronger endgame character providing a big challenge and offering distinct rewards based on how level is cleared. How the level is cleared, does that just mean normal or hard, or like point systems and stuff? So this is the dungeon hard mode start screen. So this is your start screen, selected reward. So you can select in advance by looks. These are the modifiers, right? There's a lot of modifiers on there, I think. This is your reward info. Select more options. Descendant HP defense increase. Normal Vulgus 10% increase. Kill score 140%. So there's a lot to learn with this, but that's just showing you the start screen for a dungeon. As shown in the screenshot above, players whose goal is not to just clear the dungeon can select harder difficulty options to aim for higher rewards. We wanted to provide with the enjoyment of working closely together in a party to brave higher difficulties. So the harder obviously is going to have different rewards. So in addition, we worked hard to make strategic gameplay more fun by introducing new hidden mechanics and traps. Our goal is to establish the instance dungeon, as a key component of the first Descendant through its implementation of difficulty, strategy, and challenging tasks. Look at this. So, like, if these dungeons are going to offer this quality of stuff, right, with some sort of mechanics in there, and it's not just gun frenzy, and there is some strategy to it, then this is, like I say, this is Heart of the Fortress, move to the operation zone. That looks good. And I'm not just saying it because I'm going to be playing it on the 2nd of July. No, if that actually looks good. Look at this. With the lasers, you're heading towards a fortress. How long are these dungeons going to be? 30, 40 minutes? I hope upwards 40 minutes. Maybe longer for your first clear. I hope so. And it's launching with a lot of dungeons. So I'm excited for this. I hope they need to nail dungeons. If they nail dungeons, we're halfway there for Endgame. We're halfway there if they do it. Matchmaking system improvements. A private option has been added to matchmaking, which many requested during the previous crossplay open beta testing and intercept battle or a dungeon. You can play alone in a party using the private matchmaking option, solo. When playing alone, you will be entered immediately, and when in a party, the party leader will select the private option and then enter with the party members. Furthermore, the close option has been added to the matchmaking screen. Previously, the player had the inconvenience of having to remain on the screen until matchmaking was completed, but now you can close the screen to resume your gameplay. When the matchmaking screen is closed, the HUD indicates the matchmaking progress. If you start a new matchmaking process from another void battle or dungeon, the previous one will be cancelled. So it's just some matchmaking improvements that they're saying, some way that you can set. It'll be similar to Warframe, where you can have a solo lobby or a fire team lobby. Yeah, where you can change the instances. So you better solo the void battles. The void battles, whatever they're called, the void intercept battles. And this is another screen here, right, of telling you about this actual Dead Bride boss. Core cover, sensor, balancer, linked materials. So there's these materials to chase for. Level 44, normal. Minimum matching participants 1. Weak point, burst. So burst damage is weak. Chill attribute. Look at all this the stuff to this game, man. Looks really good, honestly. Matchmaking progress indicator on HUD. Right, where's that at? I don't even know where. Matchmaking in progress. Is that it there? That's it there. So, mission gameplay UX improvements. Beyond the ability to request support from another player, as announced in the previous dev note for a field improvements, we've developed further solutions for a better gameplay experience. Among these were improvements to mission functionality. For instance, in missions requiring interaction with multiple objects, not being able to interact with the objects became a problem. To correct this now, when there are various targets within a mission, you can interact with multiple objects at the same time and see them at a glance on the UI. Furthermore, we improved the visibility of information such as mission tracking and status notifications on the UI. So the radar looks clean. Hacking in progress. Buff at the top. Not buff, but what's going on at the top. And this is what's going on. I never had a problem too much with the UI, but so this is a bonus that they're increasing, they're making the UI just better. So I'm ultimately just going to like it more, aren't I? Mission complete, yeah, we've got it. So that's what it was, that's what it is now. That's fine either way. I understood when it was mission complete before, if I'm being honest, as opposed to now. So that's fine. It was more this stuff. Hacking in progress, doing this, doing that. To make the mission gameplay more fun, we also made overall improvements to the monster AI. We are actively making detailed improvements such as the monster's ability to track the player when in battle and their movement when hiding or taking cover. This is the bread and butter of stuff. This needs to be bang on, this stuff. Because my thoughts on the AI was worrying a little bit. On the first beta test, when they done that, I was like, this game might not fly because the AI is not good. In the second beta test, though, I felt a bit more confident with the AI a little bit. Enemies were pushing me, melee-based enemies were pushing me in houses and stuff. I remember being in the Albion on certain houses. Melee enemy kept giving me problems. So all this stuff does need to be improved, but they're doing it. So they're saying one more thing also sparked a lively discussion among the dev team was about how to resolve situations where there isn't enough ammo. We wish to preserve the sense of excitement and tension from having to manage the rounds resourcefully, but avoid the feeling of frustration. To that end, we implemented support droids in key locations within the camps, dungeons, and fields to improve players with additional rounds. I didn't really have a problem with ammo, but I didn't play the game long enough to establish if there was one or not, but they're saying that there was. So there's a support droid, and these camps are sort of quite frequent, and you can fast travel back to them, I think. New content, special operation and research blocking. We'd like to announce that some new content have been added at launch. First, after the current mine blocking and resource defense, there is a new special operation. The concept currently in the works, as the codename suggests, the mission is to stop the Vulgus, which infiltrated the contingent of Ingress from conducting secret research. The Vulgus researchers that appeared in the applicable missions do not engage in battle, but as monsters possessing specialized abilities who were granted a secret mission. They carry out research and experiments. To protect these Vulgus researchers, a large number of Vulgus legions are deployed. The player mission to eliminate those monsters and locate the Vulgus researchers to halt their progress. So these are specialized enemies, and I think I've seen one where you're chasing this like small enemy, and there's going to be some sort of increased ways of how you deal with these types of enemies. So that is good. This is good. All this sort of stuff with the new AI thing. I thought the AI did slightly improve from beta 1 to beta 2 anyways, but I feel as though that when it launches that enemies are going to force you out of cover more, like what they're saying. If they said it, then they've at least attempted to do that, and that's a core part of the experience with a game like this. Enemies need to be able to be threatening enough. Now, is the AI going to be more advanced on hard mode? They haven't specifically said that, but we would hope so. New content, achievement, and titles. So this is like Destiny 2 seals and titles, which I hate that in Destiny 2. I don't like any seals and titles in Destiny 2. Well, I do like seals and titles. That's wrong. But what I don't like is being spammed by them. In games, there needs to be a few of them. Like, not many of them, but they're hard to get to make them more important to the game. If they're just spamming sales and titles at you, left and right, over season upon season, eventually it wears off. And I've seen seasonal title sales fatigue in that particular game, Destiny 2. So I hope it doesn't happen in this game. I hope, like I say, there's some meaningful ones. Achievement titles have been added. It's our plan to present various activities within the game in the form of achievements. We would like to experience the fun of attaining achievements as you progress through the missions. On top of the satisfaction making achievements, we can plan to offer various rewards. One such is obtaining a title that can be used within the game. Titles can be obtained through achievements, and because they are formed by combining a prefix and suffix, you can show off your achievements by making a wide variety of fun titles. So you can combine titles together. Now, this is something new. This is something I've seen no game do. So it's saying reach 100k total damage dealt with skills. And I like this stuff. I do like it. As long as there's not too many of them and it's not too grindy on this front in terms of like how many there is, then I'm going to like it. 0 out of 19 for battle. So there's going to be other categories like crafting ones and stuff, I bet. So look here, promising, custodian, or heroes. So it's giving you a thing of that. Does that title be above your name? They haven't said. I don't know what the situation is with that. New content laboratory. We're near the end now. Finally, we'd like to introduce a different kind of new content. It is the laboratory. As you already know, there are many diverse characters and various equipment like firearms and modules in the first Descendant. It is very important to try out different combinations or modules and equipment to compare their performance, but having to do so within the game has admittedly been inconvenient. There was a place, wasn't there, in their hub zone where you go to research stuff and craft stuff. So let's see what this is. The dev team concluded that this is inconvenient, should be done away with. So there's a new space for all this stuff. We now offer you a new space designated as the laboratory within the Albion. In the laboratory, you can change descendants and different equipment you can own to test their performance. You can also summon monsters to battle to verify the results firsthand. So you can do some testing in here. You've got a damn test facility for enemies as well. Even after launch, we will continue to improve this functionality to provide convenient gameplay. We hope this feature helps all descendants with your growth and your diverse build settings. This is fantastic. Look at the size of it as well. This is just this is just how it looks here. I'm sure it'll look a little bit better in game, but I do like the way it's set out. So that's the lab. So in the dev note, we introduce new elements will enrich your gameplay experience, from mission gameplay improvements to new features like instance dungeons, laboratory achievements, and titles. We are preparing these features to be ready for the up and coming additional test, so please continue to give us lots of feedback. That's the test that was gone 2-3 weeks ago when they done the final test, which I didn't play that. So I'm not going to go through all of this, right? But I believe, so for example here, preset loadouts a link to mastery rank. But I'm not going to go through Q&A. But the next thing you need to do after this video is you need to go and watch the endless endgame content video. Once you do all this, you've listened to my video, you listen to the dev notes, you're then going to watch that 7-minute video. Yeah, it's going to knock you back 45 minutes, but then you'll be fully caught up on the first Descendant and what you're going to expect from this game when it launches 2nd of July. So that's all your information about this. I think, as I say, it looks good. The most impressed thing I was about it was, where was it? It was the dungeons. This particular image here. And they're all going to have their own different themes. I hope not all the dungeons are very similar to each other and they all are slightly different themed with slightly different bosses. And you know, if they don't make it all too samey like what Outriders was, Outriders was all the same stuff, and that was the problem. Where we'd like a Destiny 2 dungeon, from dungeon to dungeon, it's all themed different. Like Shattered Throne as opposed to Grasp of Avarice, they're completely different themed. Now, because of the setting of First Descendant, it's going to be harder for them to differentiate dungeons in that sense, but they still will be able to. Like, you've got a fortress here. This is a fortress dungeon. So another dungeon might be on the Wastelands area, you know, or you're going deep into some sort of facility, or, you know, this sort of stuff. So it's hard to say exactly, but I am looking forward to the dungeons, the Void Intercept battles, and those specialist missions. And just overall the campaign in general. Playing campaign on hard, by the way, there'll be a hard version of campaign. You'll beat normal, then you unlock hard. You can't go right into hard difficulty. So that's my information on this, as best as I can understand things. I'm still learning all the stuff myself, but obviously you're going to learn all the stuff when the game launches anyways. So that's the information on all this. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.